for last weekend against Arsenal, they would come here and not steamroll Fulham. Fulham's a good team, but have their way a bit more than they did. And there were moments I thought that United played well in the game, but overall, there were moments that Fulham played really well too. And you just expect United to control this game, and it didn't happen. It got loose. It was a little bit off the cuff at times. And I'm so used to having watched them during preseason, opening weekend, that there is a game plan, that there is a way that Ruben Amorim wants to play. They lost that a little bit today, and so not worrying, but disappointed.
We saw progression last weekend, didn't we, from Manchester United? Did you see any of that today?
No. I thought the start of the game okay, first 15, 20 minutes, but the second half was a realisation that 2 new players in the side is not going to change that much. So I'd be holding on against Fulham at this point with the money they've spent is disappointing for the United fans. And the fans are brilliant. Man United fans are brilliant. Yeah. They clap them off. But that's not good. Ruben Amorim didn't look happy walking off there. He expects his team, Rebecca, to control more of that second half, to be the team looking to win it. Yeah. And some of the moments, some of the little details that it's easy to look past, so we're not going to look by them in these highlights, shows the weakness in certain areas in the midfield, at right wing-back, that cost them today. So they are desperate. They brought all these attacking players in, a huge amount of money, but there's glaring holes in the middle of midfield where they need 2 players. Casemiro adds nothing, and he's won more things than I could dream about winning, but he adds nothing to the midfield. Ugarte is meant to be a steel-like guy. He doesn't play Tim. Mainu can play a little bit. Kobbie Mainu, we don't see him. They need central midfield players, or play another guy in there to make 3, because they are absent so often.
Let me just touch on that, Bex. So we heard Ruben Amorim talk about, and I think one or two of the players said in preseason, they're finishing their attacks too fast, right? And what that translates to is what he wants his team to do is what City do best, right? They get around the penalty area, they camp out.
Sustain attacks.
Right? But what that points to, and the best teams need 2 midfielders behind the ball that just take care of everything, that put out fires, that regain possession, that facilitate, that allow those front 4 or 5 players to camp out and get around the box. They don't have that, and so that's where it's missing. So, like, even though he's frustrated that he's not getting these attacks that are sustained and slowed down in and around the penalty area, he doesn't have the midfielders to do it, and he knows that.
Does he just need 1 new midfielder?
2.
And what kind? Talk us through.
Generals. What I'd say is a general. Not a fancy, clever player, but a player that can do a little bit of everything. Of course, in the past, United have had incredible ones. I had a manager, Brian Robson, played against Roy Keane. Players that could do everything. Could tackle, could pass, could score, could lead, could command, could... Paul Ince was another one that would just rattle everybody. They need help in there. Instead of all those front players that you know...
Quite frankly, the top teams in this league have them. Tonali at Newcastle, right? Is McAllister, Rodri, and McAllister at Liverpool, Gravenberch. You know, so I think of all the top teams.
Ugarte was meant to be that person.
He was, and Stephen Warnock correctly said that. He just doesn't have the. He's
not good enough
he's a bit tough, but he's not a good enough footballer to. But you look at the top teams. The person you're explaining, they have those. Those players exist, and United don't have them.
Just quickly, Rob, if they get those 2 players, where does Bruno fit in after that?
Well, we've got a little passage in a minute we're going to show where he is playing as a central midfield player, and it shows his weaknesses. I don't know where Bruno's going to play. He's a 10. They've got 2 10s at least. Where's Mason Mount going to play? They've got all these 10s and no 6s and 8s, and by that I mean central midfield generals to be the engine room.
OK, well, let's talk about Bruno. He is our Sensodyne player profile. Before we get to that moment you're referring to, Tim, talk us through what happened with the penalty.
Well, he puts the ball down, and everyone has a routine and a couple steps, and he gets nudged off, actually, by the referee, and he's complaining. He has to then reset to take the penalty. It really put him off. Did he put him off enough to miss? Maybe, but it's a bad penalty in the end, and he just wasn't in the right frame of mind. And here, we know Bruno, he's a fiery guy, he likes to complain, he likes to moan, but in that moment, I think it might have put him off.
And that was at the beginning of the second half, when he was still talking to the referee clearly about it. And now this is Fulham's goal. His role in this, Robbie, was what?
Well, he's a central midfield player here, and this, I love Bruno, by the way. Watch, he's got him. He's your man, Bruno, he's your man. You've got to stay with him. It's unexcusable, it's unforgivable. Again, I love him, and I don't want to pick out this moment here, but it's so important to show that he is not a central midfield
player, a general that will do a bit of everything. And he's just not programmed internally to think about Smith Rowe running in front of him. And if he sees him edge him in there, first off, he's got to be looking at him, which he wasn't really, and he's got to go with that run. He goes with that run, he clears the ball, they probably win the game. So that's what I'm talking about.
OK, but as you said, where does he fit in if they get a couple of midfielders in, which is unlikely considering they've only got 8 days to go, when they've just spent the money on an entire new forward line, Tim?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he goes or if they get somebody in that position. I think they're going to have to try and find the balance with the players that they have. Is that Kobe Mainoo? Is it Kobe Mainoo and Bruno? Is it? They don't have anybody who can sit and hold and break things up and track runners like that. So it's troublesome. It's an area that needs improvement. But everyone's been saying they figured out the front. Now really it's the middle. I think Gary Neville said this morning. It's the middle midfield and the goalkeeper. So
what's more important, midfielder or goalkeeper, if they could only get one?
Midfielder right now.
100% midfielder. Yeah.
And who do they go with moving forward, Onana or Bayern?
Seems like it's Bayern. That's going to be his.
Bruno Fernandes holds secret meeting with Saudi Pro League club, but Man United captain demands huge contract to tempt him away from Old Trafford in positive talks. Bruno Fernandes is reportedly in talks with Saudi Pro League side A88 over a potential move to the Middle East. The Manchester United maestro was the subject of a stunning €200 million proposal from Al Hilal earlier this summer after Daily Mail Sport revealed his agent had travelled to Riyadh for face-to-face talks. Fernandes ultimately turned down the lucrative proposal at the wish of Red Devils boss Ruben Amorim, with the midfielder keen to prolong his career in Europe. But now Al who boast the likes of Karim Benzema and N'Golo Kante, have entered the race for Fernandes' signature, according to The Sun. Saudi Pro League officials are believed to have met with the United captain's representatives over a potential move, with positive initials talk already taking place. The Portugal international is however understood to be demanding a contract, worth around £33 to tempt him away from Old Trafford. A host of European stars have once again followed in the footsteps of Cristiano Ronaldo, and flocked to Saudi Arabia this summer. AC Milan's Theo Hernandez and Liverpool's Darwin Núñez have both signed for league title holders Al Hilal, while Ronaldo's Al Nassr have strengthened their ranks with the additions of João Felix and more recently Kingsley Coman. Fernandes, however, appeared to rule out a move to the Middle East earlier this summer, as the United No-8 wants to continue playing at the top level of European football. Announcing his decision to stay at the Red Devils in June, Fernandes told reporters, "It would have been an easy move. I had Ruben Neves and João Cancelo, they're at Al Hilal, two people I have a great friendship with, but I want to stay at the highest level, play in big competitions, because I still feel capable. There was an opportunity, the president called me, and asked if I wanted to go there. They were waiting for me. I spoke to Coach Amorim and he asked me not to go. Manchester United didn't want to sell me. They don't need the money. If I had wanted to leave, they would have made it happen." Fernandes turned down a lucrative proposal from Al Hilal earlier this summer at the request of Ruben Amorim. Despite suffering a 1-0 loss to Arsenal, the Red Devils' performance on the opening day of the season showed promise. The loss of Fernandes would no doubt come as a huge blow to Amorim after what, despite resulting in a 1-0 loss, was a promising first game of the season at home to Arsenal. United fans left Old Trafford with much more optimism than they would have had at many points last season after a spirited and entertaining performance against Mikel Arteta's men. New recruits Matheus Cunha and Brian Mbeumo were particularly impressive, after signing for a combined fee of nearly €140 this summer, and United's new striker Benjamin Sesko also made his debut off the bench. A glaring mistake from Altay Bayındır ultimately cost the Red Devils a point, as the Turkish goalkeeper flapped at a corner which was nodded home by Ricardo Calafiori. United are nevertheless seemingly drawing closer to fixing their goalkeeping issue, with club officials nearing the completion of a deal for Royal Antwerp goalkeeper Sen Lammens. The transfer, believed to be worth around £17 is expected to be completed in the coming days, with the Belgian viewed as a long-term replacement for the struggling Andre Onana. United continue their Premier League campaign at Craven Cottage tomorrow afternoon.